What have you got for us now, Olivia?
I've got a bone to pick.
Uh-oh.
Not with neither of you two, don't worry.
I was going to say, what a way to say hello.
No, I've got a bone to pick with Jamie Carragher.
Oh, right, go on then.
So Jamie Carragher made some comments on Sky at the start of last season saying, I don't know if you remember, he was saying, Chelsea need to stop buying players. It's not an exciting young project. Players need to stop going there. Now, fast forward 12 months, Chelsea have got into the Champions League when no one expected them to, won the Conference League, which everyone expected them to, and then, of course, won the Club World Cup, which, again, no one expected them to. And he's come out again and since then, so this is recent, in the last 24 hours, and said he's questioned Chelsea's direction under Todd Boehly and Enzo Maresca, claiming the Blues are still no nearer to mounting a Premier League title challenge despite becoming world champions and splashing another £250 million on new signings. Let's just remember that they've also recouped £200 million on outgoings this summer as well. But, Cass, I don't know what your opinions are. To say that Chelsea are no clearer to mounting a Premier League title challenge, I think is a little bit... I don't know. I don't think that's right. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. But looking at Chelsea over the last 12 months, I think Chelsea are definitely closer to a Premier League title charge. I don't think they're ready yet, which is what he said as well. But to say they're not nearer, would you agree?
They are absolutely a challenger for the title. Yeah,
So
I think Arsenal... I think City are the one for me, and I've said this to Nat at the weekends where we've chatted, that City are the one I'm more questionable how good they're going to be because they've set the standards over the last decade and more of how good they can be. I think if Pedro works, because he's a hell of a player, lots of people, Brighton fans will tell you that, if he works for them in that position, Chelsea's midfield is phenomenal. So Caicedo is now, for me, arguably one of the best midfielders in the world, if not the best, but one of them. The first season he came, he weren't fit. And, when you have these big transfer delays and all the messing around that goes around, I thought Caicedo now is playing the sort of football that puts him in the top bracket of midfielders in the world.
Yeah,
and others. And they've got a lot. I think it was interesting when they won the Club World Cup because, again, we talked about this, was the goalkeeper did not try and overplay. And that cost Chelsea quite a lot last year. They weren't good enough to win the league last season. I think they can be challengers this year. I don't see Chelsea outside the top four.
No,
really don't.
Yeah, and I think it's quite weird because it feels like he talks about Chelsea in a slightly negative way. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people had their criticisms and questions about the ownership when they first came in and some of the decisions they made, and maybe rightly so. But I feel like a lot of them have maybe changed their opinion a little bit based off of the last 12 months under Enzo Maresca. And I think Chelsea were top of the league or close to top of the league up until Christmas last year. Admittedly fell off a cliff, but recovered well at the end of last season. But he's also come out and criticised the quality of the signings and saying that they haven't upgraded the players that have left. Now, I look at the players that have left, like João Felix didn't even play. Madueke was okay, had some discipline problems, was kept out the squad a few times, and bought Gittins, who I would say is probably on par with Madueke at least. Obviously brought in another Brazilian wonder kid. We don't know how he's going to get on. But we've improved the attack in João Pedro and Liam Delap because we've really only had Nicholas Jackson last season. So does that feel harsh as well? He's criticised the club signings this summer because I look at the squad that Chelsea had last season and that Chelsea have going into this season, and I think it's much better.
Yeah, it is.
So where are these comments coming from Jamie Carragher?
I mean, Jamie's a die-hard Liverpool fan like myself, and he's not. He's an Evertonian actually, but his affection for the club, I understand. There's been quite an intense sort of rivalry between the two clubs over the last couple of decades that never existed in years gone by. I don't agree with him. I think Chelsea are very, very close to being a title-winning team. Liverpool look exceptional with what they've done, but there's never a guarantee on the transfer. All of them transfers that have come in, I was talking to Andy Townsend, who had been on the shows this week, and we were chatting on Monday, and we were saying how many transfers, big transfers, talking about the ones that haven't worked. Yeah. And going back as long as the late 70s when Steve Daly will move from Wolves to Man City for a record fee. And completely a year and a half later was nowhere in comparison to what they spent on him. So this happens quite regularly. If Liverpool's transfers work, well, everybody's in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe Jamie Carragher will be eating some humble pie come the end of the season, but we have a long few months to go until we can see if that happens.
TalkSport Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker. TalkSport.